that, let me also now talk about whether press freedom in Norway actually means a blanket license when it comes to racial stereotyping. I'm talking about that really vile snake charmer picture that actually came out in one of Norway's most influential newspapers. Is that what now the press freedom and license is as far as media is concerned? Blanket approval for this kind of racial stereotyping?
I think you are asking a really good question. And I will definitely, because I know this newspaper, and I will definitely ask them how they feel about the criticism that's coming from India. But yeah, I can't really answer for another newspaper's cartoon, and I haven't really read enough about it, and I haven't
I'm asking, what do you think about it? Because you are the one who's been talking about press freedom and speaking truth to power. What do you think about that cartoon?
I'm here to talk about press freedom in the light of what happened. Also, I would have to read the article before I give my opinion as well. I hope you appreciate or understand that.
No, even if you want to read the article later, that's okay. But the cartoon, of course, pretty much says what the slant is. I have to ask you this. Is racism and stereotyping what masquerades as journalism in Norway?
Racism and also stereotyping, especially racism, is not press freedom. So the fact that such a large population of the, or at least the people that I've just seen this, I haven't noticed how far of a reach this has, but I'm sure since you're bringing it up, it has had a far reach. But that's something that we have to then, or the newspaper that published this would have to really evaluate. But for me, I can't comment on it before I know, because I don't want to comment something I'm not educated about yet. So that's just how I feel about it. But I will say that I deeply feel that anyone feeling like a newspaper in Norway is being racist or have a cartoon that's stereotyping Indians, that's something that we have to discuss then and see did satire or political satire. I don't know the scope of the article either, so I don't know what their aim was. But we then would have to evaluate, was that, have they not understood how this could be hurtful?
Ms. Ling, I would have probably appreciated condemnation being a word, but you've actually chosen to say that you're going to read and then see how you want to react to it. Okay, and I'll let our viewers actually dissect what they make of that answer. But let me now talk about the newspaper that you are associated with as a commentator. In fact, that publication, which was founded in 1884, actually has deep linkages to the Norwegian Labour Party. In fact, it was a mouthpiece of the Norwegian Labour Party till as late as the 1990s. And you're the one talking about press freedom.
I think it's kind of offensive that you call it a mouthpiece and also try to tie what was before in Norway party presses were more usual. So I think it's a little irrelevant for today's journalism environment. This newspaper has a very strong history, and we're very proud of that history. Some of the greatest thinkers of Norway has worked in this publication, and they were able to do a lot. I'll send you some names later that you can Google, but we've had so many great writers here, and things were different back then. But that's not what this discussion is about. And we're still today a social democratic newspaper that value those issues and view in Norway we have two different type of you can kind of divide it into two. It's journalism, and then it's also debating, like, for example, commentaries, and we have a bunch of columnists that work here and do a great job. And yeah, some of them will be more left-leaning in this atmosphere than maybe more center-right journal in Norway will be.
You may think it's irrelevant, but I think the viewers would want you to react that a paper born as a Labour Party mouthpiece, whose senior editors have actually served in Labour governments, is questioning the democratic credentials of a foreign head of state.
Well, this is not we don't have any ties today, but Arne Strand was a legend in this newspaper, and he is till this day. He was a great journalist, and I think you should probably read a book about him because he was a really known reporter throughout all Norway. And yes, he was the state secretary, and yes, he had ties to the Labour Party, but that was more also how the newspapers were back in the days. But we shifted away from that, and yeah, we have that. That's what we did today, and we're committed to our readers here in Dagsavisen.
Okay, Ms. Ling, I have to wrap this up, but I want to ask you this. You said you are a commentator. You've made a distinction. You're not a journalist. Commentary requires a certain amount of reading. How many books have you read on Indian democracy? How have you formed your opinion on India? And what's your studied opinion about the Indian political landscape?
Obviously, I haven't been a journalist for more than 5 years, but I've always been interested in press freedom since I started working as a journalist, and I've always been interested in also seeing differences in countries and also being very... I'm true to my job, which is asking critical questions. So I will say that it's not like I think my impression of India is that it's a great country, and the people of India have been so supportive. I've received so many messages that I want to try to answer all of them, and I hopefully will when I get into my Instagram again. And they've been great, and I love Indian food. I love yoga as well, which was a part of the press conference on Monday. So I have a very good impression of India as a country and the Indian people especially. But I do question press freedom and human rights violations. And that's also a part of it. And that's more my job than trying to applaud a country. My job is critical journalism. So that's what I do.
Enjoying Indian curries and doing yoga doesn't qualify as knowing India. Have you been to India?
I was going to go during 2020, but I couldn't because of the pandemic. I was going to do like a round trip in Asia. So I have not studied India. India is not a field I cover either, but I've read a lot about it in the newspapers, and I also read reports about press freedom and that I take seriously. But I'm very excited to learn more, and I am excited to start following the discussions more, and I have a lot to learn. That's why I don't come from this as a place of, you guys follow, obviously, your country much better than me. I have only been trying to discuss press freedom. Because
you're the one with the opinion.
I recognize that there are a lot of things I don't have the full scope.
All right, Ms. Lin, I'm going to leave it there. You're the one with the opinion. You have a lot to learn. You're in the profession for 5 years. And hopefully the next time we chat, you will be able to ask some of those tough questions that we have been asking about the Norwegian press that it has ignored so far. I'm going to leave it there, viewers, and you will decide what you made of Ms. Lin and her defense of what she said and how she presented the facts and her colored opinion about India. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks so much for watching this edition of the Buck Stops Here. Up ahead is my